All right. We're now joined by student athletes from Iowa State University. We have sophomore Emily Ryan and senior Ashley Jones. So if you have a question, please raise your hand. Tommy in the front.
Tommy Birch, Des Moines Register. Emily and Ashley, just what have you seen so far from catching up on Georgia?
Let's start with Ashley and then go to Emily.
Yeah, we watched them play Dayton yesterday, so just knowing that they're a tough team and they're going to come out and give us everything they have, so we just have to, we're going to put in the scout today and just get ready for them.
Yeah, like Ash said, we watched them yesterday against Dayton, but other than that, we haven't seen a whole lot yet. We're going to learn a lot about them today and prepare the best we can and get ready to go.
How much did that help being able to come out onto the floor and sit in the stands and actually watch them live?
Let's go Ashley and then Emily again.
Yeah, you just kind of see them play when they get down or get in a tough situation, see how they react and kind of see their tendencies as well. And we'll see that more in the scouting report we put in today. So I think just kind of watching them play and kind of figuring out what they like to do.
Yeah, being able to watch them, just get familiar with the pace of play and how they prefer to play the game will be important for us. But honestly, we'll work hard today to figure out what we need to figure out and get ready to go.
I know this is tough to answer because you guys were probably thinking more about your game that's coming up, or that was coming up after Georgia, but did you have any takeaways from the small amount of time you watched them play on the court?
Let's go Emily and then Ashley.
Yeah, like you said, we were really focused on our game yesterday, so weren't super locked in on the game before us, but from what we saw, they're just a really athletic, skilled, talented team. They're in the NCAA tournament for a reason, and they are in the second round for a reason. So we're going to have to prepare hard and be ready to go.
Yeah, like Emily said, they're a very talented team and very athletic. So I think just the main thing is playing our game and focusing on who we are and really buy into the scouting report.
A reminder to please state your name and affiliation before asking your question.
Rob Gray, Cedar Rapids Gazette. For Emily, Coach Fenley joked before you were going to play a 9 p.m. game that you're usually in bed by then. How long did it take you to actually get to sleep after playing in that type of tense first round game?
Yeah, after a game, you're always a little amped up, so getting calmed down and going to sleep is tough. So it was a late night for sure, but we're going to be ready to go tomorrow.
And for Ashley, kind of in the same vein, I mean, you guys spinning forward, like trying to think about, hey, what can we do better, late into the night or early into the morning the same way?
Yeah, we just have to come in today and really focus in. We have one day to prepare, so just listening to the coaches and doing our best to buy into what we're scouting and get ready to go.
I know Coach Fenley can be very specific about goals that he wants to accomplish going into the season. Was the idea of, like, okay, this is a Sweet 16 team, we want to go to the Sweet 16, a specific goal that got addressed during the summer or leading up to the season?
Let's start with Ashley.
Yeah, I think, like we said in the summer when he put this score from last year on the scoreboard and the Remember the Alamo shirts, just a reminder of what happened last year and knowing that we want to go one step further, which is the Sweet 16. So just kind of taking that into account, using it as motivation and knowing what we were working for.
Yeah, going into the season, we just really wanted to be the best team we could be at the end of the season and peak at the right time. So at this point, it's trying to get to Sweet 16 because that's our game ahead right now, and that's the goal moving forward. So that's what we're focused on.
If you have a question for the student athletes, please raise your hand. All right. Thank you so much for joining us, and good luck.
Thank you.
Thanks, guys.
A recording of this press conference will be available in the NCAA Digital Media Hub at www.ncaa.veritone.com. Transcripts are provided. Please wait for the mic holder to reach your location and state your name and affiliation before asking your question. All right, we're now joined by head coach Bill Fenley from Iowa State. Coach Fenley, if you'd like to start with an opening statement, we'll then take questions.
Yeah, we're just watching the Baylor, North Carolina men's game. Can we wait a minute here? Put your phones on, let me know what happens. No, we're just obviously excited to be continuing to practice and play. Proud of the way our team found a way to win last night. We have a tremendous challenge in front of us, but it's the second round of the NCAA tournament. It's supposed to be that way. So we'll see if we can get ready.
All right, we'll take questions for Coach.
Tommy Birch, Des Moines Register. Bill, I noticed towards the end of the Georgia-Dayton game, you were out watching. You had the players sitting in the stands watching. Is that an opportunity they really get they get a chance to do often during the NCAA tournament, like go out into the stands and I guess watch who they could be playing?
No, you don't get to do that very often. It's a very unique thing to this tournament, especially when you're in the second game. We kind of go back and forth on that, to be honest with you. My old high school coach used to always never let us watch games because two things would happen. You either thought the other team was really not very good or you thought the team was great and you couldn't beat them. I don't know how much our players pay attention to the game. A couple of them, I'm sure, probably taking notes. Other ones could care less. They were told to sit there, but it's a little bit of both. I think you're just trying to occupy time, especially the game was so late. So, but normally when we're in a tournament, on the road, especially, then we'll have them watch a little bit just to get a feel for it. And if nothing else, just to get a feel for, the way the environment is in the building.
You're very goal-oriented, very specific about it going into the season at times. Was the idea of going to the Sweet 16 something you ever specifically, set as a goal for this team heading into this season?
No, we didn't. I think that I didn't know exactly what to expect from our team. Even though we have some kids that have played a lot, relative to the landscape of college basketball, our team's very young. And you didn't know how, and I say this seriously, like out of COVID, you didn't know how team was going to react. Last year we were never together except when you played games and you practiced and then everyone went their own way. And then it's going to be great that we're all together. Well, sometimes that's not great and you don't know what's going to happen, but this group, it's been great, phenomenal. So I knew we had a chance to be a good team. But we had a lot of question marks, but specifically Sweet 16, no.
Rob Gray, Cedar Rapids Gazette. Bill, what type of dimension does Hollingshead being back add to a Georgia team that rebounds it well, defends the perimeter well, has a lot of talent, obviously?
Yeah, it's their size is almost overwhelming. I mean, they just keep bringing. When you bring a kid like that off the bench, you're like, that kid's gonna start and play 30 minutes a game on a lot of teams, and they're big, they're skilled, they know exactly what they want to do. You saw last night, they just overpowered Dayton on the backboards. Foul trouble is an issue, obviously, and it's not trying to be funny, but it's we're not gonna get any bigger, taller, stronger by tomorrow. So, but I will say the one thing about women's basketball, and I've said this a lot, every rebound comes off below the rim. And sometimes you just got to want the ball more than the other dude. And we better want the ball tomorrow, or it's going to be tough. Because when they get the rebound, then they're in transition. And when they're in transition, they're just as good. Everyone talks about their size, but their guard play is really good. Morrison gets that thing going downhill, and it's hard to keep the ball in front of you. And a lot of that starts with their ability to rebound.
Now, you joked when you learned you were going to play a 9 p.m. game that it was past Emily's bedtime. I asked her about it was hard for her to go to sleep after such a tense, hard-fought win. What was your late night, early morning like in the aftermath of that 78-71 win?
Not gonna lie, I'm a little bit tired. Haven't slept. Got everything organized and went home and sat at the island at my house and had a couple cold drinks and watched a lot of video and probably went to bed about 3:30, got up about 7, and right back at it. About 6 Red Bulls in right now, so I'm a little bit wired up. But that's good. We got time to sleep. So everyone's doing the same thing. But, you'd be disappointed if you weren't that way. So it's
Andrew
okay.
Harrington, Iowa State Daily. In an emotional tournament like this, how important is it to quickly flip the switch from an emotional win to the next game?
No, I think it's really big. But our players, I think, will be able to do that. We've had a number of games, situations this year where we had one day of practice, played. That was on purpose in our non-conference schedule. So I think we'll be fine. I think there was, I don't know what the word is, relief, survived, whatever. You guys all know what I'm talking about. Like, I think our kids were a little bit numb after the game, and I think they can relax a little bit more. I thought we were loose enough, and I'm not taking anything away from Arlington. They played a phenomenal game. But we did some things that were uncharacteristic of us, and that was due to the moment, and that's what this is about. So hopefully we'll be a little bit more relaxed today in practice and show up tomorrow night and give a good account of ourselves.
I think you had said when you got home last night you watched film. Was it of you guys or of Georgia?
No, I didn't watch 1 second of our game last night. Had no interest in watching that. The problem is if you watch it again, the result might have been different. No, I did not. I did not watch 1 second of our game. It was right to Georgia, and luckily, like every coach, we had every team assigned. Billy had Georgia, and Coach Shaban had Dayton, and Coach Steyer had Arlington. So everyone. So literally, I just grabbed my computer and the stuff was ready to go. So it was on to Georgia for sure.
How much, when you're looking at film like that, is that compilation of a whole bunch of games? And I guess, what was that like what time did you get home and start watching?
Oh, probably 1:30. And then, obviously we watched a little bit of last night, but a lot of it is you go back to like their conference games, because usually people in their conference play them in a certain way. Had to go back. Hollingshead hadn't played in a while, so we wanted to see that. And then you look at special situations, games that are close. What did they do at the end of the games? Things like that. So we had a lot of information ready to go, and that's a credit to my staff. They had a lot of stuff ready to go, and we met as a staff this morning at 9 and came over here, and we'll go through practice. We'll be a walkthrough day. We don't have the ability to go very hard today, so it'll be a lot of mental work today.
How late were you up watching?
Personally, I was up late, but I told the staff everyone do it on their own time. It was so late last night, I didn't want to take them to the office like we normally do, and I just said, everyone spend some time. My grandkids needed to go to bed, so my son had to get his kids to bed, and everyone else had things to do too. People do have a life, believe it or not. And I just said, everyone take some time before you go to bed, text me whatever you have, and I got text messages till 2:30, 3 in the morning from staff members. I saw this, what about this? And then we, like I said, met at 9 o'clock this morning and put a few more things together.
I think that's kind of interesting what you were saying about staff members texting you things. What were some of the insights that they were feeding back to you?
Yeah, some of it is about what happened in the game last night, what we could have done different, or what our post players could have done, or just thoughts on the game. But a lot of it was just, hey, I saw this, or, hey, we're thinking about playing this way, or this, can we add, if we ran this play, what are they going to do to it? If we did this or we did that, and because everyone views it from a different lens. And it was almost better than sitting in the room together, because sometimes I think when we sit in the room together, they they wait to hear what I think. And then they say, oh, that's a good idea, even though they don't mean it, except for my son. He doesn't care what I think. So I think it was good. I mean, everyone can just kind of, I think everyone was, like my wife kept saying, I'm exhausted. And I mean, I think everyone was. Emotionally, the game was late, it was hard fought, all that kind of stuff. So I think it was good that everyone could just go to your own room and figure out what you want to do and send it to me, and I just put it all together, and we went through it this morning.
Connor Ferguson, Cyclone Fanatic. Coach, I know people kind of unfairly put a lot on the label of what round you make it to in the NCAA tournament every year. What would it mean to you, and also in the grand scheme of what this team is and how great this team was to reach a Sweet 16 for the first time in a decade?
Yeah, it'd be great. Yeah, they call it sweet for a reason. But I mean this sincerely, if we make it to the Sweet 16 or not, it's not going to take away from what this team has accomplished to me. Now, everyone else has their own opinion. That's fine. That's what you guys do. That's what fans do. That's cool. That's all right. That's the way it's supposed to be. But I think as a coach, you always try really hard to look at the big picture. And certainly, if we don't win the game tomorrow, we'll be disappointed. If we win the game tomorrow, we'll be excited. But at some point, you take a step back and look at what happened over a course of a whole season. So, we'll probably be better suited to answer that question probably kind of early next week, one way or the other.
Chuck Schaffner, retired AP. Okay, you look at this Georgia team under Joni Taylor, and you think back to the Andy Landers teams that you played. Similarities, differences? How do they
Eerily similar. Big, physical, powerful inside players, athletic, skilled attacking guards, great pride in their quarter court defense, and they win a lot. I guess that's the thing, that there's something about Georgia women's basketball that, obviously what Coach Landers did is amazing, and what Coach Taylor's doing is exactly the same thing. She is one of the brightest, most articulate young coaches in our country. She's gonna have an impact on the landscape of women's basketball for a long time, not just at Georgia. Whether it's USA basketball, whether it's the way I'm on a committee with her, and to listen to her talk and articulate the needs of the game and the way the game is headed, or ideas where it should head, is amazing. And how she is able to do that, and it's no surprise what she's doing and how she's doing it.
Anthony Hansen, KURE. You just talked about the conversations you have with your staff, but you've said Emily Ryan is a coach on the court. I'm wondering what conversations you have with the leaders about film study.
Yeah, no, we talk a lot about certain things that we want to cover. I always ask them if there's something, we presented a scouting report in a certain way, and then we'll go back and say, is there something else you want to see different, something you want to see more, something that you particularly want to see? Like Emily's really interested in how teams are going to handle ball screen defense. Ass is interested in, how are they going to double team me? Lex is really obviously interested in who am I going to guard? So that's a good thing. And then we give them all little clips that they can put on their phones. Since they're on their phone morning, noon, and night, we might as well give them a little video to watch so they can get to it anytime they want. So there's a lot of ways to get them information. I think for us, we've done a better job over the years of not overwhelming them with information, because there is so much information available now that you have to be really careful. So we really try and, like, what they'll see today is about a 22-minute highlight tape out of all the information that we have, and then we'll cut that into 3 to 4 minute segments as well, inbounds plays or individual people. So try and do it in a way where, okay, I can look at it, I can absorb it, because that's the world they live in. I want it now, I want it quick, and I want it to be colorful, and you put music to it, and all right, now on to the next thing. So hopefully we've done a better job of that than we have in the past.
Last question for Coach.
No, Ashley hasn't said what her plans are for next year, but how much can a stage and in the postseason tournament really elevate her profile whenever that day comes, whether it's the end of this year or next year?
Oh, I think certainly when you do it on this kind of stage, it's your profile is elevated, and what she did last night, what she's has done in the past, and what she did against Texas, all those things. I don't think there's any doubt where Ash is in the grand scheme of things, but in that league, especially in the WNBA, it's there are teams that we've talked to that love her, and there's teams that we talk to that not big fans. So, but that's what that league's about. It's like probably how you recruit certain kids too. But it's a great opportunity for her, and I'm just glad she gets to play at least one more game at Hilton in front of her fans, and I think she's really excited about that.
Great. Coach, thanks for your time.
Thank you, everyone.
Good luck.
Appreciate your time. Who won?
Thanks, Bill. UNC.
Did they win?
A record- All right. From the University of Georgia, we are now joined by senior Q Morrison and sophomore Sarah Ashley Barker. If you would like to ask a question, please raise your hand. Brandon in the front.
So I'll start off with a Q here. So can you tell me what it was like to see Jillian perform how she did last night? I know a couple of weeks ago we were talking about how you guys were excited to have her back, and for her just to do that, take me into what that was like last night to see that.
It just brings a lot of excitement to the team. Jillian stayed true to the process. She stayed dialed in to her injury and just knowing what it took to be back on that floor. And when she got out there, it was great to have her out there, and just to see her perform like that just makes it more amazing.
And then for Sarah Ashley, so I think earlier in the year, the two of us kind of talked about the staff, kind of how you guys as players go out to play for them every game. How much do you feel like the kind of the familiarity and the continuity that you guys have with this staff and kind of how you guys operate from day to day, how does that help you guys at a time like this where you guys are trying to advance to programs first Sweet 16 in almost 10 years?
I mean, I think it means like everything just to the players, to the staff in itself. To be able to have a head coach who cares about you so much on and off the court, it truly brings your team together. When she steps into the court, she's your coach. But when she steps off, you can go into her office and talk to her about anything. And that's with every single coach on this team. That's with this program. That's what they built here. And I think having that foundation makes it so easy when things are not going right. You just say, look, we're gonna stay together, and that's what's gonna get us through. We had a really hard stretch in February, and then we came out last night and we played our butts off. It's a new season, and we're just looking forward to tomorrow, and we got to get that done before we can think about anything else. So.
And then, Q, I mean, obviously tomorrow night's a huge game. Iowa State's a really good team, and I mean, the atmosphere last night was amazing. So it's like we're playing on the road. How much does that excite you to be able to guard Ashley Jones is one of the top guards in the country and have that challenge against Iowa State?
You know, any opponent, we're gonna come out there and play our defense and play my defense. We stay dialed in practice. SA will be starting off on her, but we're gonna be in it together as a team, and so we got a game set plan for her and for the rest of the others. So she's a really good player, and we're just going to do what needs to be done.
If you have a question for the student athletes, please raise your hand.
Tom Purcell, Des Moines Capital. Sarah, you got to watch the Iowa State game.
I did, yes, sir.
Okay, all right. So at the end of the game, when you're walking out with your teammates, what observations of what you saw did you share?
I mean, I think they're just a team that plays really hard and they play together. They've got 3 really good players that can just score all over. If anyone gets hot, they get hot. But you also saw that last night that they were not hitting shots in the first half, but they didn't back down. And I think that's something that you got to go into as a team, is you got to realize if you knock them in the face, they're going to knock you right back. And so that's what we got to prepare for and just keep going at it. But like I said, they're a really good team, and it's going to be fun to play against them.
Q, when Jillian's out there, how does that make your team different than if she wasn't?
I wouldn't say it makes the team difference. I feel like each post player come out there with the same capability to just do what needs to be done within the plays. We run plays for specific players, and so when she is out there, we're trying to put her in the right space to make the right play for her, and that's what we do with any post player that comes out there, whether that's Shavin, Jordan, Mallory.
What makes her a special player? I mean, she didn't have that many minutes, and look what she did. What are the talents she possesses to do that?
Just listening. Jill's a really good listener. She doesn't talk back, and so when it comes to listening, she dials into that, and she goes out there and does what she is told, and even if she makes a mistake, we're still on her, and she takes it all in without coming back with any attitude. So that's what most definitely makes her great.
And the last thing I have for Sarah Ashley, I mean, also on Joanne, I mean, with these last few weeks with her being in practice, I mean, take the basketball player out of it. Can you think of an interaction or a conversation that you had that just kind of made you guys feel good as a team to have her back and have her look like available to work with you guys?
I mean, absolutely. I think all year we wanted her back in full strength, but we knew that, you know, she had some injuries that were holding her back. But I think that the whole year, all of us were just like, you know, when we get Jillian back, like it's gonna help. Not saying that missing Jillian, you know, affects our team, but having her makes us more deep in the post. But it also makes it to where if someone's playing good, they're gonna stay in the game. And we have so many people that we can just get in and out, and we have a huge bench. I mean, last night we had 29 bench points. That's unbelievable. That's like really, really good. And so we're deep, and that makes us good because, say I'm not playing well, Reagan comes in, she plays well, she's got it. Like that's just, you know, we trust each other, and we want each other to do well. So yeah.
Any more in-person questions for the student athletes? Okay, we'll move to remote, and we'll start with McLean Baxley.
Question for Q. In the past few weeks, y'all talked about how there's an expectation in Georgia to compete for championships and go into the tournaments and, you know, compete. Is there any added sense of pressure with this year's team? You know, with you and Jenna kind of coming back from a lot of experience, and you showed last night that y'all are capable of having a four-quarter game. Is there any sort of added pressure for you or for this team to win tomorrow night?
No, sir. There's no added pressure. This is a great group of girls. We have a great team, and each night we come out there to perform. And last night we were able to do that, and moving on to tomorrow, we're going to come out there with that same effort and energy.
Do we have any more questions for the student athletes? Thank you so much for your time and good luck.
Thank you, guys.
A recording of this press conference will be available in Good, how are you?
Good. Do you live here? Or do you get to go home at all?
You know, I don't live in the building. No, it feels like it. But. All right, we're now joined by head coach Joni Taylor from the University of Georgia. Coach Taylor, if you'd like to start with an opening statement, we'll then take questions.
Obviously spent last night and this morning preparing for Iowa State. Really, really good team. You know, another three-headed monster with their guards. When you look at Ashley Jones and what she can do as an All-American, then you've got Lexi, who's really, really good, and then Emily Ryan. And so we've got to be really, really good about taking away the three, but also dribble penetration. I think they do a really good job of getting downhill to get to the rim, get to the free throw line, and to find shooters. So we're going to be stretched on all ends. They've got great pieces around the three of them. So it's going to be a fun game, but a challenging game for us as well.
Thanks, Coach. We'll now take questions.
Hey, Coach, I mean, can you just kind of take me through the timetable of the last, 16 hours or so? I saw you guys at the game last night, but how have you guys gone about preparing? Because as you said, Iowa State's a really good team.
All right. So obviously, the girls went back last night. They went back 8, watched the game, and went to sleep. And so we had breakfast this morning at 9:30, and then watched film at 10. Prepped for Iowa State with our film work, with our scouting, and then just had a 2-hour practice and walked through some stuff offensively and defensively. And that's what it is. It's a quick turnaround. It's where you lean on your maturity. You lean on the mental side of the game, you know, being locked in and trusting just who we are with our principles defensively and offensively.
And then in the SEC, you guys obviously go up against some of the best players in the country, Ryan Howard, Aaliyah Boston, you name it. But Iowa State has another one, Ashley Jones. I mean, how difficult is it to handle her along with the pieces around her, as you said?
Well, she's somebody who can just take over a game, right, and score in a multitude of ways. She truly is a three-level scorer. She shoots the three. She can create her own shot. She can get by you, put it on the floor. She's got moves, and she's versatile around the paint. She rebounds the basketball, plays extremely tough. She's just a seasoned player and somebody who's just relentless in how she pursues things and wants to be a leader for their team. So we're going to have to just – it won't be one person guarding her. You know, that's going to be a team job, a team assignment. And understand she's going to make tough shots. It's where we've got to be really disciplined with everyone else as well and make sure that we're not giving up things that they want. We've got to make their shots tough.
And the last thing I had, so I guess I would say an advantage that y'all do have is obviously the depth and the options, because last night 70 of 78 Iowa State points came from Jones, Donarski, and Ryan. I mean, how can you guys use that to your advantage? I mean, having 29 points off the bench last night.
Well, it's been our secret sauce all year long, and so it's where everybody has to be ready to go when their number's called. It's where we have to be locked in to know what it is we're looking for offensively and get to that. And then we've got to go pursue the basketball when it goes up. We've got to rebound the ball, give ourselves second chance opportunities. And I think that's what makes us dangerous is that, yes, we know it could be a few people, but it could also be somebody else. And so, again, it's taking rhythm shots, taking the shot that we know we're gonna take when it's our turn. And then the biggest thing, again, is just going to rebound it.
Tom Crichel, Des Moines Capital. Coach, Coach Fenley talked highly of you when he was in here, said you had served on some committees. He spoke of your elegance. Were you, what do you know of Bill Fenley? And, but if you hadn't come up here to play here now, but someone had asked you in Georgia, well, what is the Iowa State program? How would you respond? What's their brand?
I think, number one, I know Coach Finley really well. He's someone who I've watched and admired for a really long time. When I was an assistant at Georgia in 2013, we played Iowa State in Spokane, so very familiar with them and have always watched their program from afar. When I think about Coach Finley, I think about him being a steward of our game, right? He's one of the guardians of our game. He serves on the same committees I do and is really one of the leaders in that respect in terms of growing the game and making sure that we're equitable and we're just pushing the needle in all types of ways. When I think about their program, I think about history, I think about tradition. I think about players who shoot the three really well, but also who defend really, really well. I think about atmosphere. I think about environment, the crowd. Like it's what you want when you look at women's basketball. You want people in the stands who are excited who embrace our old women's program, and just how they've built it and grown it here is something that's really, really we look up to and we admire.
Okay, and conversely, when someone is asked, what is Georgia women's basketball? What do you hope they say?
Hope they say it's a tradition-rich program that when you watch them play, they play hard, they play for each other, they play with their heart, and that there are women there who are carrying on the legacy that was created by the people who came before them.
Dave Sproul, KASI Radio. Bill also mentioned that you've spoken very eloquently about the future of basketball and what you want to look for. Can you kind of give us a thumbnail sketch of what you envision for the future of the game?
Well, I hope it continues to grow. I think we're in the right direction. I think there's been a lot of things that have happened when you look at just the things that we've been able to do this year. The NCAA has really stepped up in terms of branding. We've got March Madness. We had 68 teams. I think last year's disparities in the bubble really pointed out how there's still room for us to grow, right? And with this being the 50th anniversary of Title IX, we'd be remiss to continue not to push the needle. So I think for us, we want to continue to have our games televised. It's really been fun to go back to the hotel room and watch every game on TV. That has not always happened. And so there is growth, but we're not done. So for us, I think the path to parity has to come on the business side of things, making sure that our game has the same market value as the men, making sure that there's revenue distribution. There's still places that we can stretch and grow and ask people to make it more equitable for our game.
Hey, Coach, kind of a bigger picture thing here, but I was thinking about the last year or so that your family's been on with 2 NCAA tournament appearances. Darius getting to be a head coach, an assistant GM in Atlanta, and all the success that your program has had. I mean, can you put the value of this latest chapter of y'all's journey into words? I mean, 2 kids, all that. I mean, can you put it into words?
It's blessed, is what I would say. Grateful, humble. Darius and I have the same dream and passion for what we want to do professionally and personally, and that's affect the lives of young people, right, and continue to help them in any way we can. And it's great to have a partner, to have a family and a support system who understands that and who does nothing but help you achieve the goals that you want, not for yourself, but for the program that we're playing for and for the young women who walk through those doors. And so it's been a blessing that has happened, but more importantly, the impact that our young ladies have on our 2 daughters, right? And I think also the impact that our 2 daughters have on our team, right? It's been fun to watch just the dynamic both ways. And so it's something that you don't take for granted. And basketball is something that we're all here that binds us together, but I think it also allows you to put things in perspective when you see 2 young children running around and when they see the late hours that you're putting in because you're trying to do something special. So I think it's just perspective for everybody. And hopefully it allows them, not only my 2 daughters, but our players, it allows them to see that you can have what you want, right? And that's what it's about. It's about having choices. And as long as they understand they have choices and if they work hard, then the sky is the limit for what they want to accomplish, that's what we want to do.
Do we have any more in-person questions for Coach Taylor? Okay, we'll now move to remote. If you have a question, please use the raise hand function. Coach, I think that's all we have for you. Thanks for joining us and good luck.
Thank you.
A recording of this press conference will be available